Do you ever bump into people or hear of people whose life changes overnight, or they just start to become different or act different in a positive way, and then when you get talking to them you find out that in their life something changed? Either they might have had a new job, or they might have had something like something that kind of flicks a switch in their brain and they realise something, or they see the world differently, or might even be an accident or a health scare that kind of gets them to think and look at things differently. Well, quite recently there was quite an animated argument on one of the social media platforms about the Great Awakening, or the Great Reset people call it. And I was just reading through the comments, and everyone seemed to have a different opinion on what they believed the Great Awakening is. And although you could see people arguing about the conspiracy theory stories and what it actually means to them, there was a lot of people talking about the Great Awakening that has happened to them. And I was reading one fella's comments, and he was saying that throughout his life he had this belief, or he lived in a belief of lack all the time, and all of a sudden his life changed, where he didn't need to have that focus anymore, and he started to enjoy his life. And he went on. There was obviously, I'm not going to go into details about the actual arguments, because I know the way people are seeing the world differently nowadays and talking about the likes of the Great Reset. But I was more interested in people's opinions on themselves, on what's changed. And I remember many years ago, a friend of mine I used to help him on a Saturday morning as a milkman, and he'd been a milkman for years. He used to give me a bit of pocket money. He'd be out all Saturday, and he retired. And I remember the day he retired, I was living in a different area at the time, and he phoned me and he was quite upset, and he was talking about, what's he going to do now? He's retired. And I just remember him saying on his very last day, it was as if he didn't exist. It was his last day. The boss come in and give him a gift and said, "Thank you for 25 years service," and they give him a gold watch. And in that moment, that was his awakening, because he realised when he opened the gift and had his name inscribed on it, he didn't even get a handshake. It was just, "There you go, thank you very much," and he finished his shift. But he realised he got a golden watch, and he realised then the symbolic meaning behind it is that time is golden. And he realised at his age, he's given his devotion to a company, and although he got a gold watch off it, they just replaced him the next morning. And you get other people who, for example, they hit rock bottom, or they get sacked from a job, or they get a new job and it inspires them, or they get that little light bulb moment to do something better in their life. And I was kind of reading this fella's message and getting the impression that everyone really has a story to tell. Everyone really has that burning desire. And I was reading through and I was looking at the comments, and I was looking at the comments where people were talking about what it meant to them. And right out the blue, someone said it got a lot of likes, and it got a lot of feedback and a lot of comments, and a lot of people agreed, and a lot of people were. But this one comment kind of changed the direction of the thread. And I think I read this years ago, or I'd heard it years ago. I don't know whether he picked it up from the same place or not, but he said, "Have you ever walked around a graveyard and just think to yourself of all the people that have passed away or moved on to the next life or whatever you want to believe in, and they've took their dreams and their ambitions and their desires with them. And I thought this conversation's getting pretty deep now, but it's true. Everyone has that burning ambition to do something great, or they wake up one morning and just see things differently. And I find it's happening more often when you talk to people, especially when you do get to kind of my age. You do know a lot. Like, I know a lot of people. I've lived in a lot of areas, and you see a lot of people changing, and when you talk to them or when you have that conversation, they're saying, "Oh, Philip, I just realised this, I just realised that, and I'm going off to live my passion, or I'm going off to do something that I've always wanted to do." Or in some cases, people have had a health scare. And it also reminds me of, this doesn't happen in one country, this happens in nearly every country. And there's a very good book, I'll leave a description down below. I can't remember the woman's name, but she was a nurse who worked in a nursing home, and she used to say the one thing everyone who comes to the end of the last stage of their life realises, that of all the things they've done in life, all the mistakes they've made, all the times they made a fool of themselves, everything they've done, the last thing that kind of haunts them is regret. And when you find people who, because we take life for granted, I mean, everyone's assumes tomorrow's going to be there. For some people it doesn't happen, but when you know that's the end, it's the regret. And I was just filtering through the comments, and it was so interesting, because when I hear of the Great Awakening or the Great Reset, I know what kind of comments I hear back, you know, about which way the world's going or what governments are doing. And as I say, I'm not going down the conspiracy theory route, but it's true. But it's also about, you know, what's your awakening? You know, what is it what's your story? What's the story that you want to tell, or what's that thing that's burning deep inside you that you want to do and you've always wanted to do? And you look at today and you do find a lot of people leaving their 9-to-5 jobs and following their hobbies. The other day I was speaking to a joiner. He's been a joiner for 30 years, and he's battled to get work, and he's always thinking next week, you know, will the next job come? And then all of a sudden he took to YouTube and started showing people little life hacks on how to do joinery themselves. And the jobs he's now doing for people, he does for free because he's getting paid. He's getting monetized off YouTube. But that was his aha moment sort of thing. That was his light bulb moment. And it is interesting, you know, because you look at today, obviously you've got social media, and it's like that saying, if you give someone a pen, they can either write a lovely poem or they can stab you with it. It's how you handle it. But you've got social media now where people are waking themselves up to what they want to do, and waking themselves up to get to know themselves better, you know. That's another part of it. People are starting to get to know themselves. And I know it sounds crazy, and I know a lot of people say, well, I know myself, but do you really? Do you really spend that time on your own? Do you really spend that time working on yourself? You know, because a lot of people are starting to do it. But I just thought it was a very interesting thread, and there was obviously a lot of silly comments, because you're gonna get those comments as well. But I just thought it was very interesting, because we are moving into a new age, and there's a lot of things happening, but it's the personal stories that I like, you know, how people have changed their lives and what people have done to improve their lives, you know. And I just thought I'd share share this with you. And if you want to leave a comment down below, and if your life's changed for the better, or if what you've done to work on yourself over the years or recently, let me know. But just thought while I'm out for a walk, I'll do a quick video. The Great Awakening, eh? Are you ready? Is it here? And what is it? Anyway, talk to you soon.